Hey everyone, I have clearance to tell you that the Oakland Raiders have less time to submit a decision regarding whether or not they're going to accept the lease extension proposal that the Oakland-Alameda County Coliseum Joint Powers Authority issued to them in February. As I make this, it is April 21st, and the Raiders have still not responded. There are a lot of pissed off people, and I've said that before and I'll say it again, that comprise the board of the Oakland-Alameda County Coliseum Joint Powers Authority. There's a feeling to a person that the Raiders have used and abused them, and it must stop. That's the word I've gotten from everyone, with variation, that I've been able to get a hold of, with variation. So I can tell you that the Raiders have until June 30th. Okay? I can't tell you who told me that, but that did come from the meeting. The Raiders have until June 30th to make a decision. If they don't give an answer by then they are automatically out of the Coliseum. Now, something else that came up in that meeting was that the Raiders have been snooping around San Diego looking for a home there temporarily until they go to Vegas. Now, there are some complications with that. The rent in San Diego, as it was paid by the Chargers, is $3.3 million, which is about the same as the Raiders are going to be paying this year at the Coliseum, which is a record for the Raiders in Oakland at any time. There's also transportation to consider. Basically, to make it simple for you, the Raiders will be doing a temporary relocation to another city before they went to the city that they were trying to relocate to from Oakland. Does that make sense? The reason why you haven't heard it announced is because it's not logical. The only person, and this is me speculating, that could be driving such an illogical idea is the owner, Marc Davis himself. It's not something that Marc Badain would agree to. I'm certain of that. In fact, Marc, from what I understand, appears to be waiting for his boss to give the thumbs up or the thumbs down on Oakland. Marc is essentially the messenger at this point, not the shot caller, okay? But the bottom line is, there is a collective feeling among the JPA board members that the Raiders have treated them like a side piece, and the city of Oakland, the county of Alameda, like a side piece for long enough, and something has to be done. So this year is set. The Raiders will be here in 2018. We don't know about 2019 or 2020. San Diego is something I believe the Raiders were exploring. They could very well still be exploring that. They could be exploring another move. But if you think about it in terms of the structure of possible decisions, whatever the Raiders do would add up to another relocation before they completed their relocation in Las Vegas, and so the Raiders would have to deal with the costs associated with that. Even if they choose to go across the bay to play at Levi Stadium, while it's less a relocation of the team and more a relocation of really where the team plays within the Bay Area, there is one gigantic factor. The 49ers are paying rent annually at $24 million. So logically, you would have to think that they would want to cut that in half to $12 million and say, okay, Raiders pay us $12 million. But that's not something the Raiders would want to do. They're better off taking what would still comparatively be a bargain of a deal by staying in Oakland. That's how it lays out for the Raiders. So the situation at hand is the Raiders trying to figure out something. Is it San Diego? Will the NFL pay for that? That's to be seen. However, it is known that the Raiders have been, and I use this term again, snooping around San Diego. Or where else would it be? You say San Antonio? Again, you're essentially talking about the Raiders relocating to San Antonio for all practical purposes before they relocate to Las Vegas. Their headquarters would be in the Bay Area, but they would have to have a sizable temporary setup in, that's right, in San Antonio to make that work. Or completely shut down in Oakland, then move to San Antonio, and at the same time move to Las Vegas. That's way too complicated. It doesn't matter where you point the arrow. Someplace in LA, maybe the LA Coliseum, it doesn't matter. Wherever you point the arrow, what the Raiders have to do to make that place work is the same. And it has giant costs associated with it, regardless of where it is. So the Raiders' best option is Oakland, where they face a JPA that has seen a situation where pretty much since the Raiders have returned to Oakland, they have either expressed unhappiness with the deal, 1997, tried to sue the city of Oakland and did so successfully because of the bad PSL sales problem, 2000, turned around, had a moment of bliss between the time that they went to the Super Bowl and lost to the man who's coaching them now when John Gruden was coaching the Tampa Bay Buccaneers in 2002, 2003. A nice quiet interlude from 2003 to 2008, 2007, excuse me, only to start back talk of moving to Los Angeles yet again in 2008, and then reintroduce the idea again in 2011 after the passing of Mr. Davis. And from 2011 to this period, the Raiders have had only one quiet period where they didn't saber rattle about moving, and that was 2013. Add that up. And all through that period, the Raiders have asked for one thing, lower rent, and they've always got it. The Coliseum JPA has been the Raiders' side piece for a very long time. The board is tired. Stay tuned. Please subscribe to Zenny62 on YouTube.